Okay, everyone. Hi, everyone, and I want to welcome you especially to yet another, you know, another lecture for today. I want to welcome you especially. Bear with me. I'm still working on my apparatus. I'm still working on my apparatus. Okay. Um. Right. I'm still working on my apparatus. Okay. So please, just stick around for a while. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Tina Weber, for joining, and thanks to everyone for being here today. Happy weekend to you all. I want to welcome you to yet another episode of I want to welcome you to another episode of yet online class with my students. If you are here for the first time, welcome in a special way. If you'll be here in subsequent lectures, I want to say thank you for being here, for turning again. You know, if you've not subscribed yet, please do so as quickly as you can so that you'll be getting, information on all my videos and all my videos actually and lectures, because I do videos that has to do with science, trying to explain some various science around on the road. I also I'm also come live like this. Okay, so whichever one that interests you, don't hesitate to join. So while I wait for my students, I want to welcome you and I want to quickly say thank you for joining, and I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy what we have to offer for today's lecture, and I believe you'll be glad you did. And also, I want to also ask if you've not subscribed yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can, you can have access to all our videos, whether online classes or videos that have to do with traffic signals. All right. If you've not done so, please subscribe, click on the notification bell so that whenever we post videos, you'll be one of the first to be notified. And also, place your comments in the comment section in case you have any questions. And also, feel free to, share this video and our subsequent videos with your social media community so that people that are interested in it can also, you know, have access to it. People that are connected with you or connected to you in one way or the other can also have access to it. All right. So as I await my students, if there are any questions you've had in our previous lecture, please let us see those questions in the comment section so that we can deliver to you the answers that you desire. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me quickly go to Good morning, madam. How are you doing? And how's your family? We're doing well. Happy weekend. You're welcome. Sorry for being late. I was trying to, know whether you are the only one that will come or maybe other students. I tried to reach them, but they are not available.
Okay.
One of them just told me that he's at work. He will not be joining. So I said okay. So that is why. I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you that today is going to be online. I didn't state it in the message.
Yes.
Another thing for the early hours of this morning is because I'll be going to work this afternoon. I'll be working from between 2 o'clock till 10 o'clock tonight. So that's why I want to do the lecture this morning.
Okay.
All right, let's dive into it as quickly as possible. Now, where did we stop in our last
If you ask me who I was, I do not remember.
the last lecture we had was one of the lectures that has to do with um, the stanza de sicurezza, right?
It's not express. I think yes, I think so. Yes, yeah, it's true.
The stanza
We
de
stop
sicurezza.
at 149.
Okay, page 149. Okay, let's go there, page 149. Okay. Where did we actually stop? We stopped in
148.
148. Okay. The stanza de sicurezza fra I veicoli. Okay. So we're going to start from that same 148.
All right.
Page 148, which is the stanza di sicurezza fra I veicoli. You know, I've done this lecture with you before, but I'm only trying to, do it again so that you can understand better. I'm only trying to do it again so that you can understand better. Durante la marcia, tutti I veicoli devono tenere rispetto al veicolo che precede una distanza di sicurezza tale da riuscire a fermare in tempo il veicolo in caso di pericolo, evitando collisioni con il veicolo che precede. That's what they call tamponamento. Tamponamento is when you hit somebody from behind. It's a word you put down and then write the meaning. Tamponamento, when you hit somebody, because accidents are these different types. Some accidents can be by the side, some accidents can be frontal. Frontal is face to face, and some accidents can be from behind. So the one behind is called tamponamento in Italian, or you can call it collisione, to collide into anything, maybe to collide with another vehicle or to collide with a road structure. Because there are some structures, there are some roads that have structures on the road there, even right in the middle. So sometimes somebody can by mistake, as a result of insufficient visualities, as a result of insufficient vision, can collide into such structures. Okay. So those structures, those kind of accidents can be tamponamento, most especially the one that has to do with hitting someone or hitting a vehicle from behind. Now, durante la marcia tutti i veicoli devono tenere rispetto al veicolo che precede. When moving on the road, every vehicle must be careful, to give distance to the vehicle that is in front of it. That is why I don't know if you hear me say this, what they call bomber to bomber. Maybe you've heard about that statement before, where behind vehicle that is in front of you or vehicle that is in front of somebody, person is going too close to it. It's very, very wrong in driving. Very, very wrong in driving. Because when there is an emergency on the road and the person in front of that vehicle or the person in front of you slams on their brake, because there is no space or you are too close to that vehicle that is behind you or that is in front of you, there's no how you will not hit that vehicle. Why? Because you are too close, and there's what they call braking distance. I've explained it in our last lecture. Braking distance is the distance between your vehicle or between the place you slam on your brakes and where your vehicle will stop. I told you that immediately you hit your brake, the vehicle will not stop immediately. It will go for a distance according to the speed that you are. If your speed is low, it will go for a lower distance or a shorter distance. But if your speed is high, it will go for more distance. It will go for more distance. As soon as you slam your brakes, it will go for more distance before it will finally stop, before your vehicle will finally stop. So that distance is very, very important. If you are not giving the vehicle in front of you some distance, whenever there's an emergency and the vehicle in front of you should slam on their brakes, definitely, because there's no distance between you and the vehicle, you will not meet up. You will hit that vehicle. You understand? So that's why distance is very, very important. That's why they call it distanza di sicurezza. And there's a way it is measured. There's a way it is measured at all times. As we continue, you will see how it is measured. Now, una distanza di sicurezza tale da riuscire a fermare in tempo il veicolo in caso di pericolo, evitando collisione con il veicolo che precede, which is tamponamento. Now look at this blue vehicle here. This blue vehicle here is behind this red vehicle. There's a red vehicle in front and there's a blue vehicle behind. Between this red vehicle and this blue vehicle, that's what they call distanza di sicurezza. That's that distanza di sicurezza. Now, this blue vehicle decides to slam on their brakes at this point, this yellow line. You understand? So, if this vehicle should slam on the brake here, you see this transparent vehicle in the middle. That transparent vehicle in the middle is where the vehicle will stop. If the vehicle, if the blue vehicle decide to hold brake where it is now, it will not stop where it is immediately. It will stop where this transparent one is. You understand?
Yeah.
So this place where the blue vehicle is the place the blue vehicle decides to hold brake now. That place, between that place and this transparent vehicle in the middle, is what they call reazione. You understand? It's what they call reazione. For instance, if this blue vehicle is closer to this red vehicle and this blue vehicle decides to slam on the brake, you will see that it will hit this red vehicle. Why? Because there's no space. There's no enough space. So you must give enough space. There must be enough space between your vehicle, this blue vehicle, and the vehicle in front, which is this red vehicle. So that when you hit your brake, when there's an emergency and you match the brake, sometimes the emergency cannot be from you. The emergency can be from the vehicle in front of you. You understand? The emergency can be from the vehicle in front of you because the vehicle in front of you may have seen something that you have not seen yet. And they decide to slam their brake. You understand? But because the space you have given the vehicle, for instance, the space that this blue vehicle has given this red vehicle is big enough. So when this red vehicle slam on their own brake, this blue vehicle will follow suit. By the time this blue vehicle slam on their own brake, you see that it has enough space. It will not hit the red vehicle. Why? Because there's enough space between them. But when there's no enough space between them, there's bound to be collision. There's bound to be this tamponamento. So this space between the blue vehicle and the red vehicle is what is called distanza di sicurezza. You understand?
Yeah.
The space, the gap between the blue vehicle and the red vehicle is what they call distanza di sicurezza. Very important. And like I said before, it's being measured. So as we continue, we'll see how it is being measured. La distanza di sicurezza è quindi la minima che si deve mantenere dal veicolo che ci precede, in modo da evitare tamponamenti anche prima di iniziare un sorpasso. Yes, even when you want to overtake a vehicle, before you overtake that vehicle, even as when you want to overtake a vehicle, before you overtake that vehicle, you will discover that this vehicle that you want to overtake, you must still give it space. You must not go too close to it because you don't know what is even going to happen. Maybe the person might experience an emergency and decide to hold brake. So you must still give space between your vehicle and the other vehicle. Although you come closer, but you must still give space. There must still be that space. That space is very important because of emergency. So you must, just like people when they work, they keep by the time you collect your salary, you keep some. You don't spend all. You keep some for emergency purpose. In driving, there must be space for emergency. There must be space for emergency. Very important. Nel suo valore minimo deve essere almeno uguale alla distanza percorsa durante il tempo di reazione, che si considera mediamente di un secondo, ma che aumenta in relazione alla scarsa attenzione, esperienza e stato fisico del conducente. Scarsa attenzione. What is scarsa attention? Scarce attention. That is when somebody is not paying complete attention to the road, or a driver is not paying complete attention to the driving that he is driving. Sometimes it can result in emergency. You understand? And this emergency is always on the road. As somebody is driving, might think of something or the one thing or the other might take the person's concentration, and by the time the person will come back, there's an emergency. So, in order for you to avoid such emergency, you now slam on your brakes. In order for you to avoid such emergency, you now slam on your brake. So the person behind you have to also follow suit. But the person not to be able to hit you as you slam on your brake, there must be that space. That's what they are saying here. Deve essere almeno uguale alla distanza percorsa durante il tempo di reazione. Now, when you are driving at a particular speed, for instance, you are driving at 50, there's a way it is measured. If you are driving at 50 km per hour, the tempo di reazione is the time you match your brake, and the time that the distance between where you step on your brakes and the distance that the vehicle will finally stop is what they call tempo di reazione. So when you match your brake, for instance, you are driving at 50 km per hour, you match your brake, you will discover that the vehicle that you are driving will not go for too far before they will finally stop. Why? Because your speed limit is low. So the lower the speed limit, the lower the tempo di reazione, and even the lower the distanza di sicurezza can be. But the higher the speed limit, the higher the tempo di reazione, and also the higher the distanza di sicurezza should be. Because, for instance, you are someone that is driving at 100 and someone that is driving at 50. They are on different levels. They are on different speed limit. So somebody that is driving on 50, the tempo di reazione will be low. But someone that is driving on 100 km per hour, the tempo di reazione will be higher than that of 50. Why? Because when you slam your brakes, there's this distance. The more speed, the more distance that is needed for tempo di reazione. Can I explain again if it's not clear?
Yeah, come again. Sorry.
Now, if you are driving, for instance, 100 km per hour, you discover that 100 km per hour is speed. You are driving at a high speed. And somebody that is driving for 50 km per hour, the person is driving at a low speed. Now, when the person driving at a low speed encounters an emergency on the road and match their brake, when they match brake, you will discover that the person does not need high tempo di reazione. When you match brake, I told you that if you match brake, there's a distance that your vehicle will go to, will move. There's a little distance it will move before it will finally stop. You don't stop immediately. like this diagram that we have here, the blue vehicle match brake at that point where it is. Look at where it will stop. It will stop in this. It will stop here, where the transparent vehicle is.
Okay.
Do you understand? It will stop in where the transparent vehicle is. And this thing is considered as a result of your speed limit. For instance, if this vehicle, this blue vehicle here, match their brake, the person that's driving match brake in this place where the blue vehicle is, and is stopping this transparent vehicle, it is because this person is driving at 50 km/h. So the speed is low. Therefore, it does not need much distance for when a match brake. It does not need, the vehicle does not need to go for more distance before it will finally stop. But for instance, if this person that is driving this blue vehicle is driving at 100 km/h and there's an emergency, and the person decides to match brake here where this blue vehicle is now, you will discover that this blue vehicle will not stop here. It will not stop here where this transparent vehicle is. It will still go further. You understand? It will go further. Why? Because of the speed that the person is driving is high. Do you understand it? And it continues like that. The more the speed, the more the tempo di reazione, the more the distances di sicurezza should also be. Is it clear now?
Yes.
So as we continue now with these calculations that are here, we will explain how it should be, how it is being calculated, so that next time when you see it, you'll be able to understand. So that's what they mean by deve essere almeno uguale alla distanza percorsa durante il tempo di reazione. Yes, it has to be equal. That's why this calculation is needed. When you are driving at a high speed, you calculate it very well with this formula that is listed here, so that you know the gap, because the gap is measured in meters. You will know the gap between you and the vehicle in front of you. You know the gap to give, so that when there's an emergency, when you hold your brake, you still have enough room not to hit the vehicle that is coming or that is in front of you. You understand? So let's continue. Che si considera mediamente di un secondo, ma che aumenta in relazione alla scarsa attenzione, esperienza e stato fisico del conducente. You know, most times these emergencies that happens on the road is as a result of scarce attention. Scarce attention is limited concentration. Somebody is driving and the person's mind is not there. It can result in what is called this emergency that we are talking about. It can result in emergency because somebody that is driving, the person full attention is not. The driving needs full concentration. You understand? Now, another thing that can cause it can be as a result of stato fisico del psicofisico. Okay, stato psicofisico del conducente. Sometimes the driver might not be well. You get another thing, old people that drive, you know that their reaction to things is slower as a result of age. It's not their fault. As a result of age, their reactions to things is slower. That's why sometimes if you see old people driving on the road, their speed is low. You understand? Because they can no longer control high speed. So what people do is if they see old people on the road, they just overtake them and continue their journey, because it is the one they can carry, the one they can control. That is what they are driving. Why? Because of their stato psychophysical. Their psychological state is now reduced, is low as a result of age. You can't compare what a young person will do to that of which an old person will do. An old person, there are things they cannot do anymore. They did it when they were younger, but now that they are old, they cannot do it anymore. Maybe when they were younger, they drove at high speed, but now that they are old, they can't, because they cannot control it. You understand? So as a result of their age, they are no longer able to do some certain things. So because of that, it can also affect their driving. And that is why, in order for them to be on the safer side, most old people you see on the road, they drive on low speed, the one they can control. Ok. Pertanto, dai calcoli già esposti nel paragrafo relativo allo spazio percorso durante il tempo di reazione si ottiene che approssimativamente la distanza minima di sicurezza deve essere. Now, we want to go into calculation. What we just showed is how I have to do calculation. We want to go into the calculation of this distanza di sicurezza. Now, se si viaggia a 30 km all'ora, di circa 9 km. Now, why is this so? 30 km per hour. If you are driving at 30 km per hour, the distance you are supposed to give to the vehicle, or the distance that there is supposed to be between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you is 9 meters. 9 meters. Now, how did we arrive at 9 meters? It's very simple. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So what you will do, how the calculation is, any speedometer that you are driving or any speed limit that you are driving at 30, just divide that 30 by 10 and times it by 3. That is just the formula. Yes, you divide it by 10 times 3. Whatever you get, you divide it by 10 times 3. For instance, you are driving at 30 km per hour. Very slow. It's a very slow speed that can be controlled by even old people. What you need to do for you to get the proper amount or the proper distance between you and the vehicle in front of you is 30 divided by 10, which is equal to 3. Then that 3, you times it by 3, which is 9. So the distance between you and your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you, if you are driving at 30 km per hour, should be 9. It can also be 10. So it must be either 8, 9, or 10. So in case a question comes like that and says, if you are driving at 30 km per hour, what is your distanza di sicurezza between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you is 8. It's vero. The answer is vero. It's 9. The answer is vero. It's 10. The answer is vero. You understand? Because they must be close to each other, between 8 and 10. You understand? Now, the next one is se si viaggia a 50 km all'ora di circa 14 metri. If you are driving at 50 km per hour, 50 km per hour, your distanza di sicurezza should be around 14 meters. That's what they mean by cerca. Cerca means around, which means it can also be 15, it can be 14, it can also be 13. So in case you come across a question that says you are driving at 50 km per hour, your distanza di sicurezza is 14. Vero is correct. Is 13. Vero is correct. Is 14. Is correct. Is 15. Is correct. It shouldn't be too high or too low. Do you understand?
Yes.
So in this case, if they ask you if you are driving at 50, or you come across a question that says if you are driving at 50 km per hour, your distanza di sicurezza should be 20 or should be 25. It's too high. Wrong. Or should be, because of 14, it should be 8. It's very wrong because it is now too low. You understand? So it shouldn't be too high or too low. It should just be around the figure, the correct figure. Now, how do we calculate this particular one? 50 divided by 10. 50 divided by 10 is 5. 5 times 3, 15.
Okay, sorry to cut you short. Like that 30
Mm.
is divided by 3.
No, 30 divided by 10. 10 first, 10.
I thought, okay, I thought it,
All
okay.
of them divided by 10, then the
Okay.
answer times 3.
Mm.
Do you get?
Yes.
30 divided by 10 is 3.
Mm.
3 times 3, 9. In this case, 50 divided by 10 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. So that is why they said cerca 14, which means it can be 13, it can be 14, it can be 15 as well.
Mm.
You know, it can also even be 16. Since it's 50, it can be 16 because they are close.
Mm.
You get the point?
Yes.
Now, if you are driving at, or should I say, se si viaggia a 100 km all'ora di circa 28 metri, because the distance is measured in meters.
Mm.
All the distance of the circumference is measured in meters. So in this case, 100, if you are driving at 100 km per hour, the distance of the circumference should be around 28. Let's calculate if it's correct. 100 divided by 10 is what?
50.
100 divided by 10 is 10. 10
100 divided by 10.
yes, it's 10. Then 10 times 3 is 30. You can see that they are correct when they say 28 because 28 is closer to 30. It can be 28, it can be 29, it can be 30, it can also be 31. So that is why it is cerca, around.
Mm.
So whether in this question, whether they say 29 is correct, 30 is also correct because we calculated it now and it is 30. Even 31 is correct, but from 35 is now too far. 40 is too high. Then, in this case, 20 is too low. Do you understand?
Sorry. Yes.
Now, let's get to the next one, which is se si viaggia a 130 km all'ora, which is very high. Di circa 36 metri. Now, this 130 is the 130 is the high speed. In fact, it's the maximum speed limit. It's the maximum speed limit. 130 is the maximum speed limit here in Italy. You understand? You don't drive in Italy. You don't drive more than 30 km per hour. No, you don't. You don't drive more than 30 km per hour. More than 130, sorry, not 30. More than 130, you can drive. But if the camera should pick you, it's going to be disastrous. They will give you multa if you drive more than. If you have the ability maybe to drive more than, fine. But under the camera is wrong. If you drive more than 130 under the, most especially in autostrada, if you drive more than 130 under the camera picks you, then there is multa for it. But in Italy, the maximum speed limit is 130. In Germany, the maximum speed limit is 150. So different countries with their different maximum speed limit. You know, Germany, they drive a lot and they have fast cars. The country produces fast cars, so they drive a whole lot. That's why you see somebody from Germany can drive from Germany to Italy, can drive from Germany to anywhere. They trust their cars very much. They have fast cars and all that. Yeah, but here in Italy, Italians don't really drive for long distances. They rather go with train or they fly. You understand? If they must travel for a distance, for a long distance, they either go with train. So that is why the speed limit is reduced. In Germany, it is increased to 150 because they can go anywhere as far as their car is there. You understand? So let's calculate this 130 km per hour. 130 divided by 10 is 13. Then 13 times 3 is 39. You understand? So when they say cerca 36 is correct. Even up to 39 is correct because 39 is closer to 36. Okay? So 30 is very far. It's wrong. In case you see a question that comes like this and it says you are driving at 130, your speed, your distance the closer should be 30. It's wrong because 30 is now far from 39. Okay? But when you see 39, 36, 37, 38, 40 is also correct. You understand? Because the way they measure it is 4 times back and 4 numbers behind and 4 numbers in front. So if it is 4 numbers behind, fine, it's correct. If it is 4 numbers in front, it's also correct. But from 5 numbers in front or 5 numbers behind, the actual number is wrong. That's how it is being calculated. That is why it is cerca. Because now, why is it cerca? You know, you don't have tape rule. Or as you are driving, there's no tape. You don't have your tape rule that you use to measure it to get the correct one. You understand? So you must just check. You must do it around. It must be around the actual number. In this case, the actual number here is 39. So it must be around the actual number, which is 36 is also around the actual number. 40 is also around the actual number. Even 42 is also around the actual number. You understand? So that is how it's being calculated because there's no tape as you are driving. You cannot be measuring at the same time, but it must be around. You understand it? Now, the next one, which is the last one for the calculation, of which you can go on and on. Even if you're 70, if you are driving 70, you can also calculate it like that. Se si viaggia a 150 km all'ora di circa 42 metri. If you are driving at the speed of 150 km per hour, 150 km per hour is a high speed. From 100 down. From 100 km is high speed. You understand? So because it is high speed, the distanza di sicurezza has to be high too, according to the speed. You see that 150 km per hour is higher. The distanza di sicurezza is higher than that of 130, which is equally higher than that of 100. You understand? So that is what I explained before, that the higher your speed, the higher your distanza di sicurezza. Now, you are driving at 150 km per hour. The distanza di sicurezza should be around 42 meters. Let's calculate. 150 km divided by 10 is 15. Then 15 times 3 is 45. Now you see that 42 is also correct. So because 42 is closer to 45. You understand? So this is how the formula is. It's very easy to calculate. It's very easy to calculate. Once you see any question, all you need to do, once you see any question that pertains to this distanza di sicurezza, all you need to do is just calculate it. 150 divided by 10, 15. Because they will give you the answer there. They will say, for instance, se si viaggia a 150 km all'ora, la distanza di sicurezza deve essere di circa 45. Deve essere di circa 42 in this context. For you to be very sure, you just need to calculate 150 divided by 10, 15. Then 15 times 3, 45. So if they wrote 42 there, the answer is zero. If they wrote 45, the answer is zero. But if they wrote 50, it's false. You understand? Or they wrote 30, just much lower than the actual answer, or much higher than the actual answer, is false. But if it is closer to the actual number, or even if it is the actual number, either closer to the actual number, below or above, is correct, is zero. You understand?
Yes.
So that is how this thing is calculated. It's not difficult at all. It's very, very easy. So just bear in mind that the more your speed limit, The more your speed limit, the more your distanza de sicurezza should be. Speed limit actually affects distanza de sicurezza on the increase. If you are driving at a lower speed, the distanza de sicurezza will be lower. If you are driving at a higher speed, the distanza de sicurezza will also be higher. Now, let's continue. Se il veicolo che precede trasporta un carico sporgente poco stabile, si marcia in colonna, la visibilità è scarsa e non può escludere che un veicolo davanti si arresti improvviso. La distanza di sicurezza va aumentata e dunque può risultare maggiore dello spazio percorso nel tempo di reazione, ciò per evitare tamponamenti a catena. Now, in case you are driving behind a lorry that is carrying something, and those things that the lorry is carrying is this one that is longer than the vehicle. You know, there are some lorries that transport things that are even longer than the vehicle that is carrying it. So when you are driving and you come across such a vehicle that is in front of you, all you need to do is to increase your distanza de sicurezza far. Let your distanza de sicurezza be far, because you cannot know what is happening or what might happen in front of that vehicle. You understand?
Yes.
So when you are driving behind such a vehicle, all you need to do is to increase your distanza de sicurezza. Increase your distanza de sicurezza so that when that vehicle that is in front of you decide to encounters an emergency and match their brake, you too, you'll be on the safer side. Why? Because your distanza de sicurezza is now more than it. Ok? That's what this place says. Comunque, in qualunque caso sia difficile valutare il comportamento del conducente che ci precede, bene aumentare la distanza di sicurezza. Yes, when even any time you are driving and you cannot really explain the comportment of the driver that is in front of you, the comportment of the driver that is driving in front of you, what you need to do is to increase your speed, your distanza di sicurezza. If you are driving and there's a driver in front of you, you don't really know if the person is serious. Just give the person chance, give him gap. That's what this place is saying. In case there's an emergency, it will not affect you. La distanza di sicurezza dipende, è commisurata, which is dipende, alla velocità del veicolo, ma non alla marcia inestata. Now, it depends. This distanza di sicurezza depend on speed, like I've told you before. It depends on speed. If your speed is low, the distanza di sicurezza should also be low. If your speed is high, the distanza di sicurezza should also be high. Alle condizioni del traffico e del stato o del fondo stradale, yeah, other thing that can affect or that can, determine or depend on your distanza di sicurezza is the condition of traffic. If the traffic is low, if there's high traffic on the road, okay, if the road is bad, if the road is wet, if the road is slippery, you understand? Maybe there's snow. The road, anytime there's snow on the road definitely might be slippery. So it will also affect your distanza di sicurezza. If the road if you are driving on a snowy road, your distanza di sicurezza must be far. You must give you a lot of distanza di sicurezza. If you are driving on a rainy road, the road can, affect the wetness of the road can affect your braking distance. So therefore, your distanza di sicurezza must be also far. Now, al tipo e stato di efficienza del veicolo, in particolare dei suoi freni di servizio. Another thing that also affects your distanza di sicurezza is the tipo e stato di efficienza del veicolo. The health. Let me use the word health, because vehicles too have health issues, just like we human beings have health issues. If the health of your vehicle is not doing so well, most especially if it has to do with the braking, if the brake is not really strong, or normal as a result of maybe used pastille. That's what they call pastille. Um, Pastille. That's what they call pastille. What am I going to call it in English now? Brake shoe, brake pad, yes, brake pad. That's what they call pastille. Because in your tire, when you match brake, that's what they call brake pad. It is in every tire, in every wheel. That thing that is in every, once you match your brake, the thing will hold the tire. You understand? So it holds, that is what makes your vehicle to stop. When it stops, when you match your brake, it holds the tire. You understand? All the four tire holds the tire. So when, as you are driving for over a long time, that brake pad will be, too much usage of that brass. You are using the brake pad, the quality will be reducing until it's no longer there. It's no longer efficient. Normally, anything that you are using continuously, definitely one day it will wear and tear. It will no longer be as efficient as when you bought it the first time. You understand? So because of usage, continuous usage, that pastille can wear and tear. Therefore, when you match your brake, you'll be hearing some kind of noise. I don't know if there are sometimes, if you've been in a vehicle that the match brake, you hear one wee noise, one kind of wee noise. It's as a result of that used pastille. You understand? So that is a sign to let the driver know that it's time to change the brake pad of the vehicle. You get the point? So that thing can also affect your distanza de sicurezza. Because when you match your brake, the brake will take a while before it will definitely hold as a sort of used or worn out pastille, as a sort of worn out brake pads. It can also affect. You get the point? It can also affect. So now the next one is alle condizioni e all'aderenza dei pneumatici. Yes, your tires can also be, because even though your brake pad is bad, or your brake pad can be good, even though your brake pad is good and the tires are bad. I told you sometime ago, I think in our last lecture, that there is okay, we're not the one I was telling. I was teaching another student. Your tires, they have what they call aderenza in Italian. That aderenza means teeth. You see that there's one how do I put it? I wish I can find a picture of tire here so that you will understand what I'm saying. I need to find a picture of tire. Every tire has what we can call teeth. You understand? That teeth is what helps it to, whenever you match your brake, it grips the road. That teeth allows it to have a strong grip on the road. You understand? That teeth allows it to have a strong grip on the, I think, okay, it has a strong grip on the road. It holds the road. You might not know, but if you look at it very well, it is, as long as the tires are good, it holds the road. So when you match brake, it answers immediately. But when the tires are bad, it does not. Even if your brake pads are okay, it does not hold the road very well. Why? Because the tires are bad. Now, all'entità del carico. If I see a picture or a diagram of tire, I will show you what I mean. All'entità del carico. Now, a vehicle that has to carry only 5 people, somebody is now using it to carry 7 people. It can affect the vehicle. It can affect the distanza di sicurezza, because the vehicle is now carrying overweight. You understand? Every vehicle have in their carta di circolazione, every vehicle have the quantity, the maximum quantity of passengers it can carry. If it is vehicles that are used for transportation of goods and services from place to place, they have their kilogram, or let's say they have a limit. Every vehicle have limits. Whether it is bus, whether it is camion, whether it is normal car, autovettura, they have limits. So when you give a vehicle, or you overload any vehicle beyond its limit, it will affect your distanza di sicurezza. You understand? Now, another one is alla prontezza di riflessi, tempo di reazione e alla condizione psicofisiche, concentrazione, attenzione, condizioni di salute del conducente. Now, all these things that I mentioned here also affect prontezza di riflessi. Prontezza di riflessi is readiness as you are driving. When you see an emergency, um, your immediate reaction to emergencies also affect the stanza de sicurezza. For instance, you are driving, there's an emergency, immediately you see an emergency, you don't waste time to match your brake, you understand, or to correct that emergency. That is what they mean by prontezza di riflessi, which is tempo di reazione. Once you see an emergency, you match your brakes immediately. It also affects the distanza di sicurezza. All right. Now the next one is condizione psicofisiche, which means the concentration, the attention, and the health condition of the driver can also affect. If the health condition of a driver, somebody is not feeling too well, and you want to drive, you're not feeling too well, maybe you want to drive, you have to drive as a result of maybe the important what's it called, the important appointment you have, you need to drive and you are not feeling too well. It can also affect your distanza di sicurezza, because number one, you will not be fully concentrating. You will not concentrate fully on the road. You will not concentrate fully on the driving. It can also affect your distanza di sicurezza. Now, in particolare, si ricorda che la distrazione causata ad esempio dall'accensione del cellulare, dall'accensione di una sigaretta, dalla ricerca dei comandi della radio o di altri apparecchi elettronici, eccetera, anche se della durata di pochi secondi può essere causa di incidenti. Yes. What is this explaining here? In particular, you have to understand, you have to remember that distraction can, even within millisecond, any millisecond of distraction can cause an accident. And what can be the cause of this distraction? It can be as a result of, you want to put on your phone, you want to answer a call on your phone, accensione del cellulare, accensione di una sigaretta, you want to light for people that smoke, the person wants to light cigar. Those little distractions is big enough to cause an accident. Then another one, ricerca dei comandi della radio. You want to switch on the radio. You want to put on the radio because definitely your eye as you want to do another thing, your eyes are already off your target. Your eyes are already off the place you are going. You're no longer looking at that, what's it called? You're no longer looking in front of you, you're looking at the radio. So as your eyes are going out of that, of your windscreen to your radio, anything can happen at that point. So that is why it is very, very essential. That is why it is very, very essential for anyone and everyone to be fully concentrated when they are driving. Now, the altri apparecchi elettronici, other electronic apparatus you have in your vehicle, you want to put on your AC, you want to put on the heater, all those things, they can cause distraction, which can eventually result in an accident. They can cause distraction, which is the resultant effect of an accident. Chigozie, you are welcome.
Thank you.
You are late today. You are very late today. We will give you muta.
Yes, sorry, I went to do something I couldn't meet up. Sorry.
It's understandable. It's understandable. I'm even saying that the lectures, this is not the time we used to have lecture, but because I'm going to work today, so that's why I decided to fix it this morning.
Okay.
I'll start work this afternoon to close at night. So that's why.
Okay. You
So
do it.
bear
Thank
with
you.
me. You're welcome.
Because Happy New Year.
Thank you, my classmate.
I know they see your face is New Year.
No verse. But your husband knows everything now.
Happy.
Yes.
Congrats, eh?
Thank you.
All right, let's continue. Then, because we're on page 148. In fact, we're on page 149 now. Go to 149, you'll meet us there.
149.
Yes. Page 149. 149.
Distanza de
Yes,
Secureza.
yes, that's where we are. Yes,
Okay.
but in
Okay.
page 149, the next page there, 149.
Okay.
Now we are
No problem.
reading alla condizione plano altimetriche. What do they mean by this plano altimetriche? There are some roads that have different. There are some roads that have different surfaces or different levels. Let me use that word, levels. Levels in the sense that it can be a flat road, it can be a hilly road. A flat road can actually become a hilly road as you drive along. You understand? It can also be a slopy road as you drive along. I've come across such roads. It can also be a bend, a sharp bend, which we used to call bending corner. It can also be a sharp bend. Okay, so all these things can affect your distanza de sicurezza. If you are driving at a sharp, if you are driving on the road and you want to make use of sharp bend, you know that you must slow down. You must slow down, and you must not be driving very close to the vehicle that's in front of you, because the vehicle that's in front of you, as they are approaching, that sharp bend, they slow down too. So if you're on a speed, two things are going to happen. It's either the speed that you're not able to control it anymore, and it takes you to the other lane, which is very dangerous, or because of your speed, the person can hit the vehicle that is in front, which is called that temperamento we spoke about earlier on. Now, the next one that can affect your distanza di sicurezza is alle condizioni atmosferiche. Condizioni atmosferiche has to do with atmospheric conditions, whether it is raining, whether it is snowing, or whether it is the weather is how do I put it? Nebbia. Nebbia. When there is too much nebbia, it can also affect you. There are sometimes nebbia will not allow, most especially the time that happened in this my area at night. Sometimes it does not allow you to see far. It does not allow you to see far at all. So that one can also affect your distance and the security. In fact, somebody that cannot see far, you know that you must number one, you must reduce your speed to the barest minimum, and the vehicle in front of you must give that vehicle long distanza di sicurezza, long one, because you cannot see far. Now, these are the conditions that can also affect the distanza di sicurezza. I told you the first one is the velocità, the speed, the condition of traffic. The second one, the third one is the type of the stato di efficienza, the type of the state of the vehicle, the health state of the vehicle, healthy state of the vehicle. You understand? Because just like vehicles also have it's not only humans that have health issues. Vehicles can also have health issues. So those ones can affect it. Now, condizione all'aderenza, the tires, the efficient tire, the efficiency of the tire, if it is new or used, can also affect the road. I mean the distanza di sicurezza. The next one is also the entità del carico. Entità del carico is the quantity of people that you put in a vehicle. If the vehicle is a small vehicle and you use it to carry a vehicle that can carry only 3 or 4 or 5 people maximum, and use it to carry 9 people or use it to carry 6 people, it can also affect. Okay, alla potenza di reflex, the immediate response. Your immediate response can also affect your readiness in responding immediately to emergencies, can also affect the distanza di sicurezza. Even the health issue, the health state, the psychophysical health state of the driver can also affect the distanza di sicurezza. Psychophysical health state, what I mean is concentration. The concentration, if the driver is not concentrated very well, it can affect. And the other one is the attention. The attention, if the driver is not attentive as they drive, it can affect. Then the condizione di salute, which is the health condition of the driver. If a person is weak, you discover that if you are weak, you cannot really do much. You cannot do much. Okay. Then the next one is the alle condizioni planometriche, which has to do with the road surface, whether on the road level, whether it is flat road or hilly road or slopy road. Okay. The next one is also the condizione atmospheriche. Condizione atmospheriche has to do with the atmospheric conditions. Atmospheric conditions, whether it is rainy, it is snowy, there is nebula on the road and all those things. You understand? So that is it. Or humidity. You understand? That's what they can call it, humidity or humido or nebula. They are the same thing. They are atmospheric conditions that affect the stanza di sicurezza. Ok, now let's continue. Come si vede, la distanza di sicurezza non può essere una distanza fissa. Okay, now the distanza di sicurezza is not it's not fixed, just like as we have been explaining since today. The distance of sicurezza is not fixed. One of the things that affect them is your speed and all those things. You can see the reasons we have given so far that can affect the standard of sicurezza. So what they are saying is, come si vede, just like we have seen, la distanza di sicurezza non può essere una distanza fissa. It cannot be a distanza fissa. O che si debba rispettare solo al di sopra di una certa velocità di marcia. It's not something that you can respect because of a certain, or you can adhere to because of a certain distanza di marcia. Okay? Sorry, because of certa velocità, because of the speed. Ne ha alcune influenza l'eventuale limite di velocità riportato sul retro del veicolo che ci precede. Now, one of the things again that affect must be the vehicle that you are following, the speed they are, can also influence your own speed. That can also, because it depends on road. If it is a one-way road, if it's a two-way road, all these things, if it's a one-way road, you can overtake, but if it's a two-way road, you cannot overtake at will. You have to look very well to see if there are no oncoming vehicles for you to overtake. So until the road is free for you to overtake, you need to follow the one that is behind you. You need to continue following the vehicle that is behind you. And as you continue following the vehicle that is behind you, the speed of that vehicle can also affect your own. Because if you drive higher than the vehicle that is in front of you, or your speed is more than the vehicle that's in front of you, you will definitely hit that vehicle. So the speed of that vehicle now at this point has affected your own, which will in turn affect your distanza di sicurezza. Very, very important. Inoltre, non influiscono sulla distanza di sicurezza il tipo di alimentazione. Now, very important. Just like we have mentioned the things that influence distanza di sicurezza, there are several things that we said here that can influence your distanza di sicurezza. And there are also now several other things that cannot influence your distanza di sicurezza. Now, one of them is il tipo di alimentazione del motore. The tipo di alimentazione, the type of fuel that your vehicle is using, cannot affect your distanza di sicurezza. It has nothing to do with your distanza di sicurezza. Why? Because there are some questions that will come like this, and they will ask you, tipo di alimentazione può anche influisce la distanza di sicurezza, vero o falso? The answer there is falso, because the kind of fuel you are using, whether benzina or GPL or diesel or even electric engine, cannot influence your distanza di sicurezza or la sua potenza o cilindrata. Now, the potenza or cilindrata, whether your vehicle is 2.0 or your vehicle is 1.0 engine or your vehicle is 3.0 engine, because vehicles have different capacity. There are some vehicles that are 1.0 capacity, there's some vehicles that are 1.4, 1.2, 1.3, 1.8, 1.9, 2.0, 2.5, 3.0. Even in America, they drive vehicles that are 5.0. Those ones are like plane. If you can control this, if you can control the speed for those ones are very high. But here in Europe, they don't. Those kind of vehicles are not allowed here. They're only allowed in the United States of America, where they have roads, that are wide, that are very wide. One lane will be wide like 2 lanes. So that's where they have vehicles like 5.0, 4.0. You understand? Here in Europe, Italy precisely don't have need for such vehicles because those vehicles are for speed. You don't need it here. So vehicles that we have here are even 3.0. You might not be able to even find 3.0 here. If you must find 3.0, it's not much. You understand? So these are just capacities, the different capacities that are associated with vehicle. You know that the capacity of 1.0 is not the same capacity of 2.0 and continuously like that. They are not the same. So capacity of 1.0, the speed that the power that 1.0 carries is lower compared to that of 2.0. But these things, this capacity, these engine capacities does not influence or does not affect the stanza de sicurezza. The things that affect the stanza de sicurezza are those ones that I mentioned before. Now, these ones that I'm mentioning now don't affect the stanza de sicurezza, which is the tipo di alimentazione, the type of fuel your vehicle is using, whether benzina, whether diesel, whether GPL. They don't affect it. The next one is cilindrata, which is your potenza del veicolo 1.0 and all those things that I mentioned before. Le dotazioni del veicolo, ad esempio la presenza del servosterzo o il numero di marche del cambio di velocità. Now, the kind of power steering, you know, there are some vehicles that have power steering and there are some old vehicles that have powerful steering. What do I mean by power steering and powerful steering? Powerful steering, I call them powerful steering. Why? Because they're those ones that they are hard. They are not easy. These are old vehicles. Most of them you can't find them around. You can also find them, but they are no more. You know, if you know Punto, old Fiat Punto, that one has powerful steering. Powerful steering is the sense that you use power. You want to turn, you use power to turn it. You must involve your strength to turn. Most especially if it is in a stationary point. If it is in a stationary point, if it's not moving, you involve your power to do it. You involve your strength to turn it to wherever you want to turn it to. You understand? That's what I mean by powerful steering. Then power steering, like we've read here, is those kind of vehicles that we have now. These vehicles that were produced from year 2000, even up to now. Those ones, whether you are on a stationary point or you are moving, their steering is very easy to handle. Very, very easy, very soft. If you're on a stationary point, very soft. If you're on the highway, very soft. You understand? To move, to control. So those ones are called power steering. So this kind of steering does not influence whether it is power steering or powerful steering. They don't influence your the stanza de sicurezza. They don't influence it at all. Okay. Another thing that does not influence it is your gear range. Because questions can come and they can ask you that your gear range can affect the stanza de sicurezza. The answer there is false. So your gear range, what do I mean by gear range? There are some vehicles that have up to 5 gear. And there are other ones that have up to 6. For instance, gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5. There are some vehicles that have gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5, gear 6. Then there are others like all this camion, okay? Camion, like all this camion you see, those long camion, they have up to 8, 10, 14. You understand? So these things don't affect your stanza de sicurezza. They don't affect it at all. You understand? So for instance, my vehicle is up to gear 5. But there are some vehicles that are up to gear 6. You understand? Then when you go to next level, which is like camion, if you drive all those camions, you see that they have up to 14. There are some that have up to 8. There are some that have up to 4, depending on their size. Some that have up to 14. You know, but all these gears don't influence your stanza de sicurezza. They don't influence your stanza de sicurezza. Now, another thing is la lunghezza o larghezza del nostro veicolo, or di quello che ci precede. Now, longeza and largeza, the length and the wideness, the width, you can call it width, you can call it wideness. The length of a vehicle and the wideness of a vehicle don't affect the stanza de securezza. Okay, they don't. All these things, they don't. All these properties, vehicle properties, they don't affect. One of the things that affect is nature. What I've discovered with what we are studying here is nature. The things that affect is that most of the things that affect the stanza de securezza are natural. You understand? Then the ones that are not natural, like these ones that I'm mentioning here, they don't affect. La lunghezza, la larghezza, they don't affect at all. Or even the one in front of you, the vehicle in front of you, the length of the vehicle in front of you does not affect. The wideness of the vehicle that is in front of you as you are driving on the road does not affect your distanza de sicurezza. L'ampiezza della carreggiata or il numero di corsie di cui è composta. Now, the wideness of the carreggiata, the wideness of the road does not affect it. You understand? The number of lane, the number of corsie, that's what I mean by numero. Il numero delle corsie, il numero delle corsie, the number of corsie, okay? The numero di corsie di cui è composta. The number of lanes that are composed of that carreggiata does not affect the stanza, the sicurezza in any way whatsoever. Okay, so is there any question for what we have explained so far?
For me, no.
Okay. Chigo, any question on your own part?
My question is, no, I wanted to ask a question, but as we have studied that there is no anything that will affect the security of the stanza. Because I wanted to ask, even when you brake, you hold your brake, because you know the motor have to move and before you hold it. So
Yes.
because they used to ask the question, they used to ask us the question. I used to see the question on the quiz, all those things.
Okay.
But I used to say vero because you know you will move, but because the 20 meter or 10 meter they will give, then you pass it small. So, but I used to fail it because what you said now I understand it because it does not supposed to affect
Yes.
the security of the stanza.
Yeah, these ones that I mentioned here, you know, I've been mentioned. That's why when you came, I had to do a recap of the things that can affect your distanza de sicurezza before I went into those ones that cannot affect. You know, the things that can affect your distanza de sicurezza are very different, and most of them are natural. You understand? Like I told you, condizione de traffico. You will just come out of your house one morning and you will see that the road is busy. You can come out of your house one morning and the road can be free. Once the road is free, there's nothing you can do about it. If the road is busy, there's nothing you can do about it. It's either you go back inside your house and wait until the road is free, or you join the traffic with the way it is. You understand? So these things are not things that you cannot really do much about. They affect the stanza de sicurezza, the state of health of your vehicle. A vehicle that needs servicing, and the one that does not need servicing, they are not the same. Their performance on the road will tell you that they are not the same. Even when you hear how as you switch it on, if it's a vehicle that needs servicing, if you switch it on and you are driving, the sound it will be making will tell you that it needs help. It needs servicing. If the one that is in a good condition, if you put it on as you are driving, you will know that this one is still clean. This one is still okay. So these things that affect the stanza de sicurezza, they are different from the things that don't affect. Like I've said now, the largeness, the wideness, the length of a vehicle does not affect. You understand? The state of health can also affect. State of health of a driver can also affect. If a driver is ready to drive, okay, mindset is cool, everything is fine, you can drive well. If a driver is worried, there's an issue. And that's why they tell us that when you want to drive, make sure that you are not angry. Make sure that you don't have forte emozione. What do they mean by forte emotion? Strong emotion like anger. Anger is a very strong emotion. If you want to drive, make sure you're not angry. If you want to drive, make sure you've not just eaten. You don't eat immediately and enter steering. It's wrong. So these things can affect your state of health as you drive. Once you eat immediately and enter the road, it's wrong. The stress can make somebody to vomit. I know, say vomit, they cause fatigue. When you vomit, once anybody vomit, the next thing is tiredness. You are tired. You just want to find somewhere to sit down and lie down. So that's why it's not advisable to eat and then enter the road. So these are health issues or psychological issues that can affect your distance and the security. It's not also advisable to drive when you are angry. When you are angry, you cool off. First, if it's water you need to drink, or calm down, you drink the water and calm down before you enter the steering. So these are the things. These are just the things. But like I believe now that you've seen, now that I've been able to explain these things, you are able to understand why you were getting those questions wrongly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's now continue. Now, distanza di sicurezza fra i veicoli in particolari situazioni. Particolari situazioni. That is, distanza di sicurezza between vehicles in particular situations. You understand now? Quando si hanno in azione macchine sgombraneve. That's sgombraneve is this vehicle that used to remove snow. Whenever there is snow on the road, maybe you wake up in the morning, you want to go to work, and you come out of your house, see that it has snow, the road is full of snow. You know those trucks that used to remove the snow from the road so that the road can be accessible by road users. That vehicle that used to remove that snow from the main road is called sgombraneve. They call it macchina sgombraneve. Very important. Or spanditrici di sale. Spanditrici di sale. There's one that used to spray salt. It can be a vehicle that is removing snow from the front, and behind it is spraying salt. You know that there's one that used to spray salt to melt that salt that used to melt the ice that is on the road during thick winter. That one is called spanditrici di sale. Ok, so o ghiaietto. I veicoli che li seguono devono procedere con la massima cautela e la distanza di sicurezza rispetto a tali macchine deve essere di almeno 20 metri. These questions used to come out in quiz, steady. How many meters will you give your vehicle that is in front of you? I mean, the vehicle that is this sgombraneve, that one is fixed. At least it must be from 20 meters up. If you look at the diagram beside it, you see they wrote it almeno 20 metri. Almeno 20 metri. That means it must not be less than 20 meters. It must be from 20 meters up. 25 meters, fine, but it must be from 20 meters up. Any vehicle, if you are driving on the road and you are coming behind a vehicle that is this sgombraneve, for instance, look at this red vehicle in this diagram. Is behind this macchina sgombraneve. So you see that the distance between this red vehicle and that macchina sgombraneve is almeno 20 metri. Therefore, the distanza di sicurezza between your vehicle and sgombraneve, if the sgombraneve, macchina sgombraneve is in front of you, the distanza di sicurezza should be 20 meters or should be from 20 meters up. Fuori dai centri abitati, su strade a una corsia per senso di marcia, la distanza di sicurezza fra veicoli merci oltre 3,5 tonnellate cui sia stato imposto il divieto di sorpasso è pari ad almeno 100 metri fuori dai centri abitati su strade a una corsia per senso di marcia. That is a two-way road. Ok? A two-way road. La distanza di sicurezza fra veicoli merci. Veicoli merci is all this camion that used to carry goods from place to place. Oltre 3,5 tonnellate. Oltre 3,5, that is more than, the weight is more than 3.5 tons. 3.5 tons, cui sia stato imposto il divieto di sorpasso, like this, è pari ad almeno 100 metri. Now, let me explain. When you are driving on a road, a two-way road, there's doppio senso. That's what they mean by su strade a una corsia. Su strade. I want to take it easy so that I'll explain this thing very well. This one is very critical. Fuori dai centri abitati, outside the city, outside centro, you understand? For instance, maybe on a road that leads to Langhirano, from Pilastro to Langhirano, that kind of road, for instance. La distanza di sicurezza fra I veicoli merci, between the distanza di sicurezza between this veicoli merci is vehicle that all this camion that used to carry goods from place to place. For instance, the camion that used to bring goods from to where I'm working, or that used to carry goods from where I'm working to wherever they are going. You understand? Fra veicoli oltre 3,5 tonnellate. Oltre means more. So if the weight of that camion is more than 3.5 tons, and the camion is driving on a road which is cui si è stato imposto il divieto di sorpasso. Now, a road that is, they put this sign. You see this road now, you see this sign that is here. This sign that is here, we already know what it means. It means that camion cannot overtake small vehicle. You understand? Camion cannot overtake small vehicle. And the camion that cannot overtake small vehicle is camion that is more than 3.5 tons. So the distanza di sicurezza between this camion and that small vehicle, because it cannot overtake small vehicle, the distanza di sicurezza between this camion and this small vehicle that is in front of it is 100 meters. Now, they are trying to tell us in particular conditions, the distanza di sicurezza between camions that cannot overtake small vehicle in this road that have this kind of sign, the distanza di sicurezza between camion and road that have this kind of signal, road that have this kind of signal, the distanza di sicurezza between this camion and road that have this kind of signal, whereby camion cannot overtake, the distanza sicurezza is 100 meters. Is it clear? If it's not clear, can we explain?
Yes,
It's clear. The first one is,
I understand.
okay, the first one is Macchines Gombra Neve. The second one is this Fuori dai centri abitati, where they have this kind of sign. You understand? So this is the two particular situations whereby the distanza di sicurezza is fixed. In other situations, the speed limit can influence it. You understand? So this is where we'll end for today. This is where we'll end today's lecture. I hope we were able to understand one or two.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so are there any questions, maybe from our past lectures or present lectures? Are there any questions you have? Is there anything you want me to clarify on?
Me no.
Okay. Chigo, is there any question as regards your quiz?
Yes. My question is, one, this, I don't know, this vent or no, this breeze, there is one, this thing, like in Bolombolo, they used to put in, that is pericolo.
Yes.
So they used to ask this question, and I used to sell it sometimes, but now I don't really understand. So if vehicle, machine, they go carry remote, all those remote, will it affect the remote because of the breeze? I used to tell them no. They say it go affect because it's
it will affect. Breeze can affect any vehicle. Even plane sef, breeze dey affect am. But the good thing about plane is that it uses the breeze to fly. It is the breeze that it uses. Na the breeze na dey push am when e don reach that altitude when e suppose dey. You understand? So it's used, but before it will reach that altitude, breeze used to disturb it. That is why it focuses until it gets to that altitude whereby it is now using the breeze. The breeze will now be pushing it. You understand? Breeze usually affects everything.
Because I always think that as the vehicle now
is heavy,
they jam it with it. It will not affect.
No, it will affect.
That means if it affect the remote, the LED, then there is more remote. That means even machinery.
You know the reason? One of the reasons why it will affect is because any vehicle, no matter the size, as long as you are driving it, it becomes very light. Any vehicle that is parked in a place, breeze cannot carry it easily. Breeze cannot affect it because the vehicle, everything, the weight is there. But as soon as the vehicle goes into motion, as soon as the vehicle, you are driving the vehicle, once you begin to drive that vehicle and the speed begins to increase, it becomes very light. So breeze can affect it at any given time because it is now light, it is no longer heavy. When a vehicle is heavy is when it is parked. But once the vehicle begins to move, it becomes light. That is why they ask drivers to be fully concentrated so that because anything can happen. You understand? Anything can happen. You discover, and within 1 minute, anything usually happens when driving. But when the vehicle is parked, no problem. Nothing can carry it. But once you begin to drive that vehicle, it becomes very light. That's why within 1 minute, anything can happen because the vehicle is now light. No matter how big it was, whether camion, small vehicle, breeze can affect it. So that's why anywhere you see that balloon sign that you're talking about, it means that that place, there's strong breeze there. So the driver must hold the steering very well. Driver must hold the steering very well.
Another question, I beg.
Okay.
If somebody is driving, you have your patent, and maybe something occur, maybe as you usually dress and because of hurry to go work, then you forget your documents, patent, other things. If police they stop you, they have the right to come out your punti.
No. Because you already have. It's just that you forgot it. But what they will do, they will give you documents to go and bring your patent and go and submit it in the office.
But they will give you paper or
they will give you paper because you say you forgot it because you are in a hurry going to work. They will give you paper. You will use that paper and go and submit your any day you are free. Within this period of time they are going to give you. Any day you are free, use that your patent and go and submit in their nearest office closer to you. They just want to see that you have it through. So that paper, when you go to the office nearest to you, that paper will tell the people that are there that you just came to show them your patent as a result of the control you had the other time.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is where we'll draw the line for today. In our next lecture, whenever we're having next lecture again, I'll let you know on time so that we can plan. If I'm working in the morning next week, then it will be in the evening. I've not known yet. Maybe later today I'll know how my work schedule will be within next week. So if it is in the morning, if I'm in morning shift, then it will be in the evening. But if I'm in afternoon shift again, then it will be our lecture will be on Saturday in the morning time like this. Okay. So feel free as usual to send your questions, any questions that you're having difficulty with. Because I'm not seeing your own anymore, but then I believe you are doing well. So feel free whenever you're having difficulties, feel free with any question to send those questions.
No problem.
I will address them as soon as I can. All right, take care of yourself and have a wonderful day. Until next time when we meet.
Happy weekend. Greet your wife from you.
She'll hear. Thank you so much. My regards to her, to you all. Ciao, ciao. All right, everyone. I want to thank you all for today. Thank you all for joining us here on YouTube. Please feel free to share this online lecture with your social media community so that they will hear, they will have a look, they will have a listen, and they will have a look at what you are gaining advantage of. Okay, thank you everyone. I guess I may not be able to call your names one after the other, but please, I want you to know that I really appreciate your kind gesture for being here. Thank you so much. I got €2 support from Kikitoria. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate. And the rest of you, Esther family, and Zoe, Zeneta, rather not Zeneca, Zeneta, and the rest, please. Thank you all so much. And until I meet you again in our subsequent lecture, I want you to take care of yourself and be good. And until then, have a wonderful weekend from me. Thank you.